everyone, it's me Jenny, aka ClassyLibrarian, and I know it's been ages, but this is another review for SourceFedNerd Anime Club, and this week's pick was Dramatical Murder, which is a very interesting title. But yeah, my quick review for this anime is I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't love it. It's not one that I'd want to watch again and again. Definitely, it suffers a lot from pacing issues, in my opinion. It feels like the first couple of episodes, up until I think about episode 5, they're really trying to build this universe, and it's a very interesting, very complicated universe that I would love to see more exposition into, because what they do for these 5 episodes is they constantly throw concepts at you. They constantly throw a lot of mysteries and a lot of puzzles into the story about, you know, our main character who's, you know, got some sort of amnesia, has pain in his hair, he, you know, gets headaches, he, you know, had an accident a while ago, there's a game, there's these sort of gang warfare business owners thing that you can't tell whether or not they're legal or illegal, the police are after them, but they still run businesses. It's a very complicated universe that, as I said, I'd love to delve into more. But then after episode 5 they go into a completely different direction. Instead of focusing on this very complicated universe, which they spent 5 episodes more or less trying to build up, they answered a lot of the questions about the main character, but then kind of ignored a lot of the gang warfare aspects of it and went into character development, which would be fine if we actually cared about the characters by this point. It kind of, as I said, instead of explaining aspects of this universe, what they did is they threw a new concept at you. Similarly with the characters, instead of really getting to know each individual character as they arrived, every time you're really wanting to know about one specific character, they would throw another one at you. So for the first 5 episodes it's just continuous knowledge, and I don't mind low exposition series, I love working out, but it felt like a lot of these characters have very specific purposes and yet you don't care about them at all because they've just popped up out of nowhere. And then, you know, some answers happen, and then after that it kind of has like a monster of the week sort of episodes where it has, I think, 4 in a row where it has really in-depth character exposition on an individual level, where you all find out that all of these characters have immensely tragic pasts, and because you don't care about them to begin with, you're not invested that much in their characters. When you get this exposition, you're like, oh, I feel sorry for you, but I don't really care that much about you. Even with your incredibly tragic past that all of these characters have. It's a very... It just feels very mistimed. If I compare it to another short-running series, Madoka Magica, which is one of my favourite series of all time, you really desperately care about all the characters. You care about their emotional well-being, you know, you care about their families, about their friendship, their relationship together. And in this one, you just kind of, you're waiting for that moment where they all click together and, you know, form a sort of raid group to take on the main villain, and that's kind of just what happens in this. I'd say, I think it's episode 10, towards the end of episode 10, there's a big moment where all the gang are together and they start kicking ass and taking names. I'm like, yeah. And that was the only point that I really enjoyed watching this series. The first 5 episodes are a drag of constant, you know, new ideas, and it's a double-edged sword, because if you're doing a mystery anime, you are meant to have riddles and things that are left unsaid and characters that are left undeveloped, so you could have that big reveal moment. But they were focusing so much on building this very complicated universe that they didn't actually focus that much on the characters. At least that's how I felt. Let's see. I also, perhaps, maybe I didn't feel that confident in the characters or the group balance because there are no female characters in this. The only female character is the grandmother, and all of the rest of the characters are rather effeminate in some ways. Boys, the hero, Alba, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he is very effeminate. He got confused for a girl when he was little. He has long hair, and he basically has the role as the girl in this. He takes on a lot of the classic female tropes in anime. I think he passes out twice per episode on average. He spends a lot of time unconscious and being protected by everyone else. So once I kind of associated his role with that traditional female stereotype, I actually started to enjoy it slightly more, because I could accept that there wasn't any females in this at all, but he is taking on that stereotype, so at least it's a little bit gender neutral. Yeah, I was wondering why I was getting so annoyed with his constant passing out, and then I was like, oh, this is what the girls in anime usually do. Okay, that makes sense to me. In terms of design, there's very few points in the music that I was really loving it. Again, the actual final fight sequence in episode 10 where they all start giving the acetate names, the music builds up at that point in the classic anime way, and I was like, oh yay! And the rest of it's kind of, yeah, nothing that really kind of hit home music-wise. Design-wise, in terms of the art style, I did actually have to check what year this series came out, because I was looking at it and it was very, very reminiscent of the 80s for me. Our main character wears these very massive boots with long legs and then like a little puffer jacket up here, and it felt like a callback to the 80s, and it's kind of got like that sort of like, you know, very, very classic mullet look. I don't know whether or not that was just my interpretation, but it reminded me a lot of 80s videos games. I think it was just, you know, one of those design features of the character, trying to make him look very cool and interesting. But it's just one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I don't know what time this was made. And it is a new anime, so it just is a style of the character and of this sci-fi universe. Yeah. I liked a lot of this, I really did, but it just felt like it was mistimed in terms of pacing throughout the series and in terms of the balance between humour and seriousness. It's obviously more serious than it is humorous, but there were some points where I think it's meant to be more of a comedy scene. It just felt a little bit jarring, like a lot of the eating grandma's food scenes. I feel like they were meant to be more humorous, and they came off just a little bit disjointed. Yeah. So, quick review, if you're in for a short anime, you can probably get just as much enjoyment from the episode 5 to episode 11 as you would watching the whole thing. There is a lot more just character development in those last half of the series than there is in the first half of the series. And the first half of the series builds up a lot of the universe features which are really, really interesting, and then they just let them go. Like the whole gang warfare thing is something that I really, really wanted to know more about, and they just let it go. So that's about it really. I'm sorry this is so rambly and confused. It's my first anime review in a while. But yeah, I'm going to perhaps start doing these again. I will be doing some sort of review that isn't for Movie Club Strikes Back every Thursday. So sometimes it will be an anime review depending on how long it is and how much time I have to invest in it. Sometimes it will be a movie that I've watched in the cinema, or just random thoughts, reviews, books reviews, that sort of thing. That'll be every Thursday on my channel. Yeah, so there we go. Feel free to comment down below, and maybe see you guys next week. Bye guys.